because this industry is a monster.
I understand what it's worth doing when the industry is canceling one black guy. I know what happens when they are going to elevate another.
Everybody wants to know, why'd you walk away from $50 million?
I wasn't walking away from the money.
Yeah.
I was walking away from the circumstances.
Not they offered him $50 million and he turned it down. Who gonna turn down $50 million?
They're trying to convince me I'm insane. They were trying to get me to take psychotic medication. They are trying to kill me.
Yeah.
What's going on? Why is Dave Chappelle going to Africa? Why does Mariah Carey make a $100 million deal?
Oprah's reign might finally be coming to an end as Dave Chappelle and Katt Williams have stepped up to expose her shocking ties to Hollywood's darkest secrets.
So what is happening in Hollywood? Nobody knows. The worst thing to call somebody is crazy, is dismissive. I don't understand this person, so they're crazy. That's bull.
For years, Chappelle has alluded to being blacklisted by powerful elites, and now, with Katt Williams by his side, the truth is beginning to unravel.
All lies will be exposed, that's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way. Oprah coming next.
Both comedians are blowing the lid off Oprah's ties to the elite, revealing her unspeakable crimes and manipulation in the industry. Could this really be the end for one of the most untouchable names in the business? What exactly has Oprah been hiding, and how deep do these unspeakable crimes go? Let's find out.
The whole time, they're trying to convince me I'm insane. They were trying to get me to take psychotic medication.
Dave Chappelle, the man, the myth, the comedy genius. At the height of his career, he was raking in millions, and then, out of nowhere, he walked away from a $50 million deal. Yeah, you heard that right, $50 million.
Dave Chappelle walked away from $50 million.
People thought he'd lost his mind. They called him crazy. They said he had a breakdown, but what really happened behind the scenes? Why did Dave vanish, fly off to Africa, and disappear from the spotlight? But he didn't walk away from the money. He walked away from the people behind the money.
Like, I'm not a person anymore. You say this shit about me in front of my children, and who the f do these people think they are?
And Oprah? Oh, she's right in the middle of this, pulling the strings, making sure that if Dave didn't fall in line, he'd be blacklisted in Hollywood. That's right, Hollywood's beloved Oprah, part of an elite group that silences anyone who dares to think for themselves. Dave was at the peak of his career, beloved by millions, with a $50 million deal on the table.
And they don't know what happened. You know, I have not spoken about what would make a person walk off the set of a successful show and go to Africa.
But fame came with a dark side. Hollywood turned on him, branding him as crazy and an addict. The very industry that had once celebrated him now treated him like he wasn't even a person, smearing his name in front of his own children. The pressure was relentless. Behind the scenes, powerful forces were at work, trying to manipulate him, to control him. When Dave wouldn't conform, they didn't just label him, they blacklisted him. The doors that had once opened for him began to slam shut. He became a target, a problem to be silenced. Dave has hinted at this over the years, dropping clues in interviews. But if you were paying attention, you'd see how deep the rabbit hole goes. He once said, "The worst thing you can call somebody is crazy. These people aren't crazy. Maybe the environment is a little sick." He was talking about the twisted underbelly of Hollywood, the same Hollywood that Oprah thrives in. When Dave started questioning the narrative, questioning them, that's when things started to go south. Remember that infamous moment when Dave told something about, "They're trying to kill me"? He wasn't kidding.
They are trying to kill me.
Yeah.
What's going on? Why is Dave Chappelle going to Africa? Why does Mariah Carey make a $100 million deal?
This wasn't some random meltdown. It was a desperate cry for help, a warning about the dangerous forces at play. Hollywood and its elites like Oprah was trying to destroy him, trying to silence him. And guess what? They almost succeeded. But Dave wasn't alone in this. Katt Williams, another comedian who's been in the game for years and knows all too well what goes on behind closed doors. Katt has been supporting Dave from day one, even when everyone else called him crazy. He's been saying for years that Dave didn't just walk away from $50 million.
People say that. He lost $50 million. No, that's not even close to what happened to this dude.
According to Katt, the real story is even darker. Hollywood didn't just blacklist Dave. They tried to break him. Katt has been vocal about how the industry tears people apart, and he's made it clear that Oprah is right at the center of this power structure.
Oprah coming next.
Katt recently doubled down on this. telling audiences that the story behind Dave's exit is far more sinister than anyone realizes. And the connection to Oprah? It's no coincidence that some of the most powerful people in entertainment, like Oprah, are connected to the very forces that Dave and Katt have been warning us about for years. Let's not forget Oprah's cozy relationships with Hollywood elites, the ones who keep the power structures in place. She's been rubbing shoulders with the industry's biggest moguls, all while presenting herself as a beacon of hope and inspiration. But behind that facade, there's a dark side to Oprah that few dare to speak about. And now, Dave and Katt are blowing the lid off.
This industry is a monster.
All lies will be exposed. That's all.
So why would Oprah, of all people, have a hand in blacklisting someone like Dave Chappelle? Well, it's simple. Control. Oprah's influence in Hollywood is massive, and anyone who steps out of line becomes a target. Dave was becoming too powerful, too independent, too unpredictable.
You were on drugs, you lost your mind, you went into a mental institution.
But Dave wasn't willing to play the game anymore, and that made him dangerous to people like Oprah who thrive on maintaining control. And let's not forget, this isn't just about Dave or Katt. It's about an entire system that crushes anyone who dares to think differently, who dares to speak the truth.
So what is happening in Hollywood? Nobody knows. The worst thing to call somebody is crazy, is dismissive. I don't understand this person, so they're crazy. That's
Dave Chappelle saw through the Hollywood illusion, the fake friendships, the toxic environment, and decided to leave. But Oprah? She's still playing the game, still wielding power from behind the scenes, still part of the elite. Katt Williams, who's been labeled crazy himself for calling out this system, said it best. They don't want you to know what's really going on. They want you to believe their version of events.
Because in 30 years, I've done nothing but collect information, knowledge, and your secrets.
And the industry version is that Dave Chappelle just lost his mind one day and walked away from millions. But the truth? It's far more disturbing.
Would you say you lost your mind, sort of?
No,
No.
not exactly.
Okay.
I wasn't crazy, but it's incredibly stressful.
Dave was fighting for his life, his sanity, his identity, while Oprah and her cronies were pulling the strings. Katt has been telling us for years that Hollywood is rotten to its core, and now we're starting to see the pieces come together. Oprah is not who she seems to be, and the fact that she's been able to maintain her spotless image for so long only proves how deep her ties to the elite go. We all know how the world of Hollywood has a dark side that rarely gets exposed, and when it does, those who dare to speak out often pay the price. We've seen it before. Celebrities who get too close to the truth, who stand up against the system, suddenly find themselves blacklisted or silenced. And that's what happened to Dave Chappelle exactly.
It was so much money. How could you do that? And blah, blah, blah. But you know, if I had taken that money and finished the show, I would have got the money, but I might never have been the same.
If you remember, Dave was on top of the world with Chappelle's show. But behind the scenes, there was a battle brewing. Hollywood wasn't just about money and fame. It was about control, and Dave wasn't willing to play by their rules. When Comedy Central offered him $50 million for another season, they didn't just want his comedy, they wanted his voice, his creative freedom. But Dave saw through it all. He refused to let his art become a commodity. And when he refused to bow to their demands, they didn't take it lightly. Chappelle spoke about this lack of freedom of speech in an interview and said, "Art is a powerful commodity. An artist, if you're good at it, should never behave as a commodity." My biggest gripe with this whole controversy with The Closer is that you cannot report on an artist's work and remove artistic nuance from his words. It would be like if you were reading a newspaper and they say, "Man shot in the face by a 6-foot rabbit, expected to survive," and they never tell you it's a Bugs Bunny cartoon. The network didn't just walk away, they tried to break him. They refused to pay him what he was owed, then used their power to smear his name.
People think I made a lot of money for Chappelle's show. When I left that show, I never got paid.
Even after Dave refused the offer, Comedy Central wouldn't just let this pass. In fact, they came after him and tried to destroy his reputation. Media outlets painted him as crazy and unstable. But this wasn't a coincidence. Dave was getting too close to exposing the reality of Hollywood, a place where the elites pull the strings and silence those who don't fall in line. They wanted to make an example out of him, and when Dave wouldn't cave, they blacklisted him. He talked about this many years later in his comedy special. If you quit a show like Chappelle's show, though, I don't know if you know what happens to you professionally, but I'll tell you what doesn't happen. They don't just say, well, good luck in your future endeavors. With that media, they beat me up. With their power, they tried to make me behave. It takes a strong person to stand out in the cold like that. When Dave realized that Comedy Central had done more harm to him than even Fox Network had, he was heartbroken but not hopeless. So he came to his community to ask for help.
I said, I'm going to my real boss, and I came to you because I know where my power lies.
At that time, he had to walk away and go off the grid, but to come back later to talk about how the entertainment industry can be a toxic, manipulative place. Because this isn't just about fame or money anymore. It's about power, control, and silencing those who refuse to conform. Dave Chappelle saw the truth and was willing to walk away from everything to keep his integrity, but that decision came with a heavy cost. Fans also stood with Dave and totally believed in his claims, the industry is wicked to the death. Remember when Dave dropped that line about the industry being a monster?
This industry is a monster.
Looks like he's really living up to that now by calling out Oprah Winfrey. Even after being all chummy on her show and acting like he was never gonna spill the beans, he straight up exposed her. In his special, Dave didn't hold back. He straight up called out Hollywood elites like Oprah for basically selling out to Hollywood's big shots in exchange for fame and cash. And let us tell you, he didn't mince his words.
They were in on the whole thing. I felt so wronged. I felt so stupid.
Can you guess what he's trying to say? Apparently, Dave is trying to say that people like Oprah have been involved in this heinous game for a very long time, and he feels stupid now, right? Well, this is just a guess. But Dave also said that the public's perception of Hollywood is at odds with reality, and that it is filled with lovable people like Oprah Winfrey. Dave supposedly remarked that once you see their genuine faces, you won't be able to stand them since they are too diabolical to bear. He said, it's the same monster that these Me Too bees was trying to tell you about, but they hate the monster for how it F's, and I hate that monster for how it eats. But my God, man, it's the same monster. Well, Oprah Winfrey is all over the news for the terrible things she's doing in the media business, and Dave is said to have expressed his frustration with the ease with which sugar-coated personalities like Oprah can move around. Did you notice how Oprah was pointing toward Dave's downfall? Like she knew what she had done. And honestly, if you look back at the past, you will be reminded Oprah has been at the center of a number of controversies, from allegations that she engages in smear campaigns against her critics and sabotages their careers, to the more disturbing claims that she is involved in human tea.
Oprah legitimized the notorious criminal Zhao Teixeira, aka John of God, as a miraculous faith healer, one who could cure cancer.
Oprah has been hit with serious charges of TF-icking and enabling from well-known investors like Jeffrey Epstein, the S-offender, and Harvey Weinstein. Several famous people have come forward to accuse Oprah of covering up for Harvey Weinstein, and one of them is Rose McGowan. Oprah, according to Rose, made a mistake in selecting Russell Simmons and Harvey Weinstein as pals. Rose tweeted, I am glad more are seeing the ugly truth of Oprah. I wish she were real, but she isn't. From being pals with Weinstein to abandoning and destroying Russell Simmons' sick victims, she is about supporting a sick power structure for personal gain. She is as fake as they come, #Lizard. Another person who spoke against Oprah is singer Seal. He also accused Oprah of facilitating Jeffrey and Harvey. The nature of Oprah's allegedly purported relationship with Jeffrey Epstein is currently shrouded in a great deal of mystery. Many people are under the impression that Oprah was involved in Epstein's choice of victims. There was even the possibility that the Floridian residents who accused Oprah of being a part of an organization that dealt with human TF-icking were right in their assertions. Later on, however, Oprah disproved all of these rumors that were circulating on Twitter, saying, just got a phone call that my name is trending and being trolled for some awful fake thing. It's not true. Haven't been raided or arrested, she wrote. Just sanitizing and self-distancing with the rest of the world. Stay safe, everybody. The unraveling of Oprah's role within the Hollywood elite took a dark turn when her association with John of God, a Brazilian healer, later convicted of heinous crimes, came to light. This isn't just a small misstep, it's part of a larger pattern of controversies surrounding Oprah. John of God, a man once showcased on her platform, was later sentenced to 63 years in prison for sexually abusing hundreds of women. Despite these crimes, Oprah had publicly praised him, even claiming to have had a profound experience with the disgraced figure before his downfall.
This is an interview I wasn't sure would ever happen. One of the most famous spiritual healers in the world rarely talks to anyone on camera.
But this wasn't the only instance where Oprah's influence raised eyebrows. Well, Cindy Crawford revealed an unsettling memory from her early career, describing her appearance on the Oprah Winfrey Show at just 20 years old as a moment where she was treated less like a person and more like a chattel, simply for display.
Show us why you're worthy of being here. In the moment, I didn't recognize it. Only when I look back at it and I was like, oh my gosh, that was so not okay.
Cindy reflected on how Oprah, in front of a live audience, asked her to stand up and show off her body. For years, Cindy carried the weight of that moment, not fully realizing how objectified and silenced she had been until much later. Not only that, Winfrey directed many of her questions to Crawford's manager, asking him, "So did you have to groom her? Did she always have this body?" Winfrey then addresses Crawford and asks the model to stand up so that everyone can see her. Crawford then commented, "I was like the chattel or a child, like be seen and not heard when you look at it through today's eyes." When Oprah's like, "Stand up and show me your body. Show us why you're worthy of being here," as Cindy put it, "I was so traumatized. I really felt I was not seen as a person who had a voice in her own destiny." Oprah, the same woman who built her empire on empathy and understanding, seemed to have played a role in perpetuating this toxic culture of control. When Cindy's comments came to light, Oprah swiftly removed the interview from YouTube, a move that left many wondering if she was trying to hide her part in Hollywood's long-standing exploitation of women. Oprah's longtime friend Gayle King even chimed in, expressing surprise and a slight disappointment, saying, "I'm surprised and a little disappointed because I know Cindy's been on her show many, many, many times, and it has always been a pleasant experience. So I would hate to think that something that happened years ago could have bothered her. It's not Oprah's thing to humiliate or make anybody feel badly." But the reality of that interview tells a different story, one that Cindy says left her feeling powerless. Between her connection to John of God and Cindy's disturbing revelation, a clearer picture emerges of Oprah's role in the elite circles of Hollywood. The once untouchable media queen is now being exposed for her part in controlling the narrative, ensuring that certain voices are amplified while others are silenced or minimized. It's no wonder that both Dave Chappelle and Katt Williams, two men who have long been outspoken critics of the entertainment industry, have pointed to figures like Oprah as part of the problem. Netizens also believe that Oprah is not as innocent as it seems, as one of them commented, "Oprah is one of the bad guys." Recently, Shannon Sharpe's podcast, Club Shay Shay, has also been blowing up like crazy ever since that interview with Katt Williams. And that's because this interview has spilled a ton of secrets about some of the industry's biggest names like Oprah.
Oprah coming next.
But now it seems like they are really going after by canceling his show, all because they were exposed there by Katt. Not only that, Katt also has joined the ranks of those exposing the inner workings of Hollywood elites. According to Williams, incidents such as Will Smith allegedly slapping Chris Rock at the Oscars are not genuine occurrences, but are instead staged by these elites. He claims that these events are orchestrated to shame and manipulate black celebrities, all while profiting from their humiliation.
So slappable. And if you're gonna slap him, you just need the greatest guy, the bestest guy, the one who's shown us him being on his best behavior.
One of the fans also took note of this incident and agreed with Katt's claim by tweeting, "Elites as usual have that slave grip on blacks. They use black celebs or blacks with a little power to divide and conquer and keep us fighting at the bottom. Obvious but simple tactic that always works." In another interview, this time with Jamal Finkley on his YouTube channel Blacktree, Katt supposedly spilled more beans about that whole dress wearing thing you've probably heard about. He talked about Kevin Hart rocking a dress in his SNL skit, but made it clear that Kevin wasn't the only one in on it. Katt said Eddie Murphy and Jamie Foxx were right there with him, which some folks find pretty controversial in showbiz.
Let's be very, very clear. It is possible that there isn't anything funnier than a guy in a dress.
Katt highlighted the irony in the fact that a significant portion of the audience found it amusing to witness a black man wearing a dress. He believed that this reaction would not have been the same if the individuals involved were of a different racial background.
And if that's the case, then it might also be said that there's nothing funnier than a black guy in a dress.
Even though Kevin Hart's already a big star, Katt dropped a hint that Kevin probably had his own reasons for doing those kinds of roles. But he also showed some respect for Kevin's choices in that area.
At the end of the day, Kevin doesn't have to worry about what people are going to say about him wearing a dress because of the long line of dress-wearing people before him.
Williams carefully suggested that he had observed numerous artists encountering similar challenges repeatedly throughout their careers. Given Williams' observations, one might suspect that there could be a discreet effort to undermine the public image of black icons by certain individuals or entities. In addition to his previous revelations, Williams exposed the existence of a secret society called...
I've never seen Madea in a pantsuit. I think she wears dresses. So now I'm saying, why are we picking on poor little Kevin Hart? Because it was his turn next.
The Illuminati, which he claimed faces significant opposition from within the black community. The implication here is that The Guardian, by indirectly corroborating his claims and revealing the society's name and some of its prominent members, has lent credence to his assertions about this secretive organization. He said, "It is the most elite club in the world. This is the Good Club," the name given to the tiny global elite of billionaire philanthropists. The names of some of the members are familiar figures: Bill Gates, George Soros, Warren Buffett, Oprah Winfrey, David Rockefeller, and Ted Turner. But there are others too, like business giants Eli and Edith Broad, who are equally wealthy but less well known. While Williams disclosed significant aspects of the agenda he believed to have originated from the elites, he issued a warning to fellow black artists, advising them to exercise caution and be wary of the potential influence or involvement of this secretive club.
It's not necessary for us to stir up that hornet's nest unless we intend to get stung a million times.
While it may sound somewhat exaggerated, the pimp emphasizes that his intended audience should heed his advice because he believes he has a deep understanding of the situation, having allegedly experienced the consequences of this supposed manipulation for many years.
I didn't understand that. They had to sting me a million times. I'm still not going to join, but I respect it a little more.
According to Katt, he wasn't the sole individual dealing with challenges and adversity, which is why he felt it was necessary to let go of certain matters for the sake of his own well-being.
So I know how much they talked about Martin Luther King, and I know what they end up doing to him. I know this same story about Jesus and a few of my uncles.
After going through tough times for a while, Williams said he had a big wake-up call. He realized that speaking his mind and being honest about his grievances got him a ton of backlash. He didn't expect it to be so harsh, but it opened his eyes. He now gets that what he thought was just being truthful might have been seen as reckless, and it was getting twisted against him, supposedly with the Illuminati lurking in the background, benefiting from the chaos.
So that doesn't mean I always make the right decisions, but I am going to stand by what I stand for.
Hollywood's grip on its stars is strong, and Dave Chappelle's blacklisting is a prime example of how dangerous it can be to go against the grain.
It has happened many, many times since, where someone would intimidate me or scare me and take something that I believe was mine.
So, what's next? Dave Chappelle is still standing, still fighting, and Katt Williams, he's not backing down either. Together, they're exposing the real Hollywood, the one they don't want you to know about, the one Oprah has been helping to protect. That's it for today, folks. Until next time, goodbye.